I had been secretly married to the hospital's stunning chief of staff, Claire Sterling, for 5 years. Yet she still refused to go public. Her excuse was always the same. She didn't want to upset Julian Vance, her childhood friend and former flame, whose fiancé had passed away tragically. She went so far as to join in when others tried to set me up on dates. "We have a new batch of beautiful nurses joining the staff," she teased during the department dinner. "Someone should really introduce Dr. Cole to them." In the past, I would have immediately rejected such offers to prove my loyalty to her. But catching the mocking glint in Julian's eyes across the table, I suddenly felt a wave of exhaustion. I smiled. "Sure," I said. "My requirements are simple. The sooner we get married, the better." Laughter erupted around the table. "Well, look at that, Dr. Cole has finally seen the light and in a rush too. Looking for a whirlwind romance. Even if it is a rush, plenty of girls would line up. Dr. Cole is handsome, the chief of surgery, and a genuinely good guy. A rare catch." Only Claire, sitting at the center of the table, wasn't laughing. Her smile vanished. She set her wine glass down with a heavy thud, her eyes locking onto mine with icy intensity. Julian's gaze flicked to her face, and a sarcastic smirk curled his lips. "I remember last time Dr. Cole said he had no intention of marrying. What changed so quickly?" He swirled his drink. "You said you wanted to get married next month. Do you even have anyone to marry?" Looking at Julian, who had always been my silent rival, I asked calmly, "Why wouldn't I?" I used to think Julian didn't know about my secret marriage to Claire. But I had finally realized the truth. He had known all along. Otherwise, he wouldn't have feigned drunkenness on our anniversary to call Claire away to comfort him. He wouldn't have gone to his late fiancé's grave on my birthday to record a video specifically for Claire. Every time Julian mourned, Claire would rush to his side to console him. For years, her justification for hiding our marriage was to protect his fragile emotional state. Hearing my retort, Julian paused, then immediately fired back. "You aren't getting any younger, Ethan, delaying dating and marriage for so long. It makes people wonder if you have some unspeakable problem." He leaned in, tapping Claire's arm familiarly. "Right, Claire." His words were venomous, his touch intimate. I watched them coldly. Nothing to be suspicious about. Just don't forget to bring a gift when the wedding invites go out. I turned to the colleague who had offered to set me up. "Please do. If it works out, I'll announce it to everyone immediately." Claire's face darkened. The colleagues, oblivious to the undercurrents, were thrilled. "Absolutely. You don't know how many girls ask about you. Being open to marriage makes you even more popular. I'm posting this on my social media right now. Our Cole is officially on the market. I've got a friend I can introduce you to. I'll send you a profile tonight." I smiled and thanked them, ignoring the burning glare from across the table. Suddenly, a clear female voice cut through the noise. "Dr. Cole, as the saying goes, the early bird gets the worm. Can I cut to the front of the line?" The speaker was Sophie Mercer, a brilliant medical resident recently recruited to the hospital. How could we forget Dr. Mercer? "You two are a perfect match, talented and good-looking." The colleagues cheered. I was surprised by Sophie's bold declaration. Catching her eye, she tilted her chin toward the door, signaling me to leave. "Sorry everyone, Sophie and I are going to chat somewhere quieter." Applause followed us out. I picked up Sophie's coat like a gentleman. As we were leaving, my phone buzzed. A text from Claire. "If you leave with her, don't bother coming home tonight." I walked out without hesitating, never looking back once. Once we were in her car, I apologized to Sophie. "I am sorry. I can't actually date anyone." "I'm already," Sophie interrupted me. "I know. You've been married to Chief Sterling for 5 years. How did you know?" I was shocked. Even my closest colleagues didn't know. She smiled, a mischievous glint in her eyes. "If you pay attention, you see things. I figured you wanted an escape from that dinner. Did I provide a good enough exit strategy?" I thanked her and insisted on dropping her off. As she got out of the car, Sophie turned back and asked earnestly, "Do you really not recognize me?" I looked at her blankly for a moment and apologized. Sophie laughed it off with an easy grace. "It doesn't matter. We have a long road ahead." The next day, as soon as I arrived at the hospital, a colleague rushed over to gossip. "Our Chief Sterling and Dr. Vance are finally making it official. Claire and Julian had always been close, and rumors of their romance were constant. They neither confirmed nor denied them. As her actual husband, I was forced to watch from the sidelines. The colleague, seeing my indifference, shoved his phone in my face. "Look at the chief's Instagram story." It was a photo of their backs watching a sunrise together. The caption read, "Sunrise breakfast and a beautiful beginning." Julian had commented underneath, "You forgot to mention my wake-up service." The comment had hundreds of likes. Even though I was already disappointed in Claire, seeing such blatant intimacy felt like a needle to the heart. We had been married for 5 years, keeping our distance to accommodate her wishes while she played house with Julian. Breakfasts, sunrises, wake-up calls. I steadied my breath and prepared for rounds. Suddenly, a figure lunged from the shadows, plunging a knife into my chest. "You quack. You took my money and ruined my life. Go to hell." A blinding pain washed over me and the world went dark as I collapsed. Fortunately, I was already in the hospital. Panic erupted as colleagues rushed toward me. Before I lost consciousness on the gurney, I heard someone grab my phone to call my emergency contact. Damn it. My emergency contact was Claire. It was laughable. Even as I was bleeding out, my last thought was fear that someone would discover my relationship with her. When I woke up, Sophie and another colleague were by my side. "Ethan, you're awake. You scared us to death. Multiple stab wounds. You're lucky they missed your heart. Also, the attacker got the wrong person. You weren't his doctor." I looked past them, instinctively searching for someone. Sophie explained softly, "Are you looking for the chief?" She hesitated. The other colleague chimed in. "The chief didn't pick up." She called back later. "It was a police officer. Apparently you're listed as her emergency contact too. She and Dr. Vance were in a minor fender bender and got stuck in the car. She's fine, just getting checked out, but it seems she and Dr. Vance are on a date. When the fire department got them out, they weren't exactly fully dressed." Sophie quickly silenced the colleague as my expression shifted. The colleague looked at me with suspicion, but I turned my face away, humiliated. In a life-or-death moment, I had yearned to see my wife. But hearing about her compromising situation with another man, I realized I didn't even have the right to question her. It wasn't until the next day that Claire burst into my hospital room. Her face was a mask of anxiety. Seeing Sophie by my bed, she frowned and waved a hand, dismissing her. Sophie looked at me, said nothing, and closed the door behind her. "What name do you have me saved as in your emergency contacts? It's not wife, is it?" So that was her panic. She wasn't worried about my life. She was worried our secret would be exposed. I had been foolish to think she cared. I looked away, replying flatly, "Don't worry. It's just your name. And I've already deleted you from the contact list." Claire visibly relaxed. She sensed my coldness. "I just don't want to go public yet. I don't want to trigger Julian. He and I are best friends. His fiancée died tragically. If I announced my marriage, it would be too much." I interrupted her without politeness. "It's been 5 years. You're still worried about triggering him? You're best friends, so that justifies being half naked in a car together?" Her jaw dropped, her face freezing. "It wasn't like that. We didn't." I looked at her with mockery. "Are you saying the police report lied?" Claire hesitated. "No, I was just changing clothes. Julian, he didn't." She bit her lip, then hardened her resolve. "Anyway, it's not what you think. I'm actually very angry that you went out with Sophie yesterday and let people set you up, talking about a big wedding. Do you have any respect for me?" I gave a bitter laugh. All those anniversaries and birthdays she missed for Julian. Did she have any respect for me? Years ago, she demanded a secret marriage and no wedding ceremony. My dying father, whose only wish was to see me married, died in disappointment. Meanwhile, Claire used her overseas medical rotations to climb the ladder, becoming the youngest chief of staff while I worked brutal shifts, watching her trade my promotion opportunities for favors. Even now, after I narrowly escaped death, her concern was minimal. After a few minutes, Claire grew restless. "The patient said he made a mistake. He intended to kill Julian, so don't take it personally. But Julian is furious about the mix-up. I need to go check on Julian." She reached for my hand. "As the chief of staff, I have to handle this." The doctor said, "You're out of danger." So, I watched her expressionless as she feigned hesitation. She made up her mind. I'll go see him. I'll be back soon. I pulled my hand away and stared at her coldly. Claire, sensing the friction, tried to explain. I'm a chief now. All eyes are on me. This incident is huge. You know, Julian helped me get this position. So, my brush with death was less important than Julian's temper. I'll make it up to you when I'm done. I'll agree to whatever you want, okay? I nodded. There is one thing I need you to agree to. She agreed instantly, eager to leave, and rushed out to see Julian. For the next few days, Claire was busy managing the PR crisis of the attack. Since Julian was in a sensitive period for a promotion and had a history of medical disputes, this incident could ruin him. I quietly hired a caretaker and prepared to discharge myself once I was stable. Sophie visited whenever she could despite my refusals. One evening, Claire came to the ward with Julian trailing behind her. Julian carried Claire's coat over his arm, eyeing me with a hint of contempt. Claire tucked in my blankets and poured me water, looking conflicted. What is it? I asked calmly. She sat by my bed and spoke with difficulty. The investigation cleared Julian of medical malpractice, but the board insists on punishing someone for the incident. Since you were the one injured, I was thinking, maybe we just say the dispute was actually with you. I looked at her in disbelief. Claire quickly added, don't worry. I'll compensate you. Once this blows over, I'll make sure you get a promotion and a raise. My heart turned to ice witnessing her blatant bias. If Dr. Vance isn't at fault, why pin it on me? I'm just a brick to you, aren't I? Move me wherever you need. I don't care about the promotion, but I care about my reputation. No patient has ever called me a quack. You can't destroy my name just to shield him. Julian looked impatient. You aren't doing it for me. You're doing it for the chief. Isn't that your duty? Oh, why should I help the chief? Do I know her that well? I turned my gaze to Julian, staring him down. He choked on his words. He opened his mouth several times but couldn't bring himself to say I was her husband. I sneered and turned to Claire. Dr. Vance needs to leave. I have something to say to you alone. Julian took a deep breath, glaring at me one last time before storming out. As soon as he was gone, Claire leaned in. Ethan, I know it's unfair, but this can be managed. If you just sign a letter of forgiveness and we pay the attacker a settlement, this all goes away. I have a lot of pressure in this position. You need to support me. She leaned in to kiss me. For the first time I found her repulsive. I turned my head, dodging her lips. You're insisting on helping Julian. I took a knife to the chest for nothing, and now I have to forgive the attacker and brand myself a bad doctor. She lowered her eyes, looking disappointed. Julian is the department's rising star. I watched her pace the room, my detachment complete. Fine, I agree. Claire looked up, delighted. She reached for my hand, but I stopped her. I'm resigning after I'm discharged. Claire froze. You need time to recover. I'll approve a 6-month leave. I'll hold your position. No, I am resigning, I interrupted. And before I resign, we're getting a divorce. Saying it felt like lifting a mountain off my chest. Claire's face turned ashen. What did you say? Divorce? She laughed dryly. Ethan, we've been married 5 years. What kind of joke is this? I smiled cold and sharp. No joke. I signed the settlement. You signed the divorce papers. Claire stared at me for a long time. I don't agree. You're divorcing me out of jealousy over Julian? I thought better of you. She slammed the door and left. I didn't care what she thought. My mind was made up. I processed my own discharge, then went to HR to pick up the resignation forms. The HR director was shocked and immediately called Claire, but she didn't answer. Back in the ward, packing my things, Sophie appeared. You're resigning? I smiled. I haven't properly thanked you for taking care of me. She looked at me for a moment, then shook her head. Good. I'm resigning too. I was startled. I only came to this hospital because of you. If you're gone, there's no reason for me to stay, she said. By the way, I meant what I said about a long road ahead. Before I could dissuade her, she smiled and left, looking cheerful. My phone rang. It was Claire. HR must have reached her. Watching the name Claire flash on the screen, I felt nothing. After we married, I had saved her as wife, but she demanded I change it. I had to beg just to save her by her first name. On her phone I was just cold. I pulled out the divorce papers I had prepared, signed them, and delivered them to her office. Then I grabbed my suitcase and walked out. As I drove away, I saw Claire's car speeding into the lot, but I turned the wheel and vanished into traffic. My phone rang again. Claire. I hung up. She texted, "If you don't want to sign the forgiveness letter, then don't. Marriage isn't easy. I hope we both cherish it." I laughed. I had cherished it for 5 years. I didn't even have the title of husband to show for it. Once she received the papers, she bombarded me. "I will not agree to a divorce." I simply hung up and sent 2 texts. "Either you sign or I file a lawsuit. I know everything. I know you only became chief because of Julian." It wasn't a bluff. From the moment she demanded a hidden marriage and brought the mediocre Julian into the hospital, pushing him up the ranks. I knew years ago she and Julian's fiancé were both on the medical mission. An accident killed the fiancé. That woman was supposed to return to be the vice chief. She was the scion of the powerful Harrington family. When she died, the Harringtons lost a pawn. Julian lost his golden ticket. Claire saw an opening. She used Julian to get close to the Harringtons, eventually securing the position of chief for herself. She kept Julian close to maintain the connection. I was the safety net, the hidden husband who did the actual work while she played politics. I took a month off to recover. Claire texted daily, oscillating between playing the victim and blaming me for not understanding her burdens. "Ethan, stop throwing tantrums. This isn't the time to discuss divorce." She acted as if she still loved me deep down. In reality, the moment I left, she closed the investigation, pinning the stabbing incident on me as a medical dispute. I knew she would. She would always protect Julian. She didn't know Julian had added me on social media. I accepted his request. His first message: "Glad you were smart enough to leave. Don't worry, I'll take good care of Claire." He followed it with photos of them being intimate. I deleted Claire's number. A few days later, a former colleague called. I answered, but it was Claire. She sighed, sounding mournful. "I can't believe I have to call other people to reach you. We're husband and wife, Ethan." She asked where I was. I told her I was vacationing on an island in the Pacific. "We promised to go there together," she said softly. I remembered, but she chose the secret marriage, forcing us to live parallel lives. "How was your wound?" "Stay out of the salt water or we'll scar, and no alcohol." Claire, I cut her off. I knew why she was calling. She took a deep breath. "I am sorry. I signed the divorce papers." I exhaled, my entire body relaxing into a state of peace. Good. Claire didn't speak, nor did she hang up. I could just hear her heavy breathing. "I wish you the best, Chief Sterling. May your career soar." As I was about to hang up, Julian's ecstatic voice came through the receiver. "Claire," they agreed. "The Harringtons approved our marriage." Claire hardly hung up the phone. So that was it. Approved the union between Claire and Julian. That was why she finally signed. Good. We were finally on separate paths. When I returned from my trip, someone grabbed my suitcase as soon as I stepped out of the terminal. It was Sophie. I looked at her in surprise. She beamed. "Don't recognize me?" I shook my head. "It was unexpected. There are more surprises than you think. I knew you were getting divorced. That's why I came." I looked at her, puzzled. Very few people knew about the divorce. "News leaked from the Harrington family," she explained. "I also know the Harringtons took Julian in as a godson. It's to pave the way for his wedding declaration." I hadn't expected Sophie, a young woman not long out of med school, to know so much. Her next words floored me. "What's your next move? A lot of hospitals are asking me about you. You can set your terms." Her tone was confident, commanding even. I studied her closely. "Who exactly are you?" She pressed her lips into a smile. "You'll find out soon." I had an appointment with Claire to finalize the divorce. I arrived early at City Hall. Claire arrived late, freezing when she saw Sophie standing beside me. Sophie had insisted on coming. I initially refused, but Julian had sent me a digital invitation. It was a wedding photo of him and Claire, intimately close. Claire looked distracted in the picture, but Julian radiated arrogance. The caption read, "Here is our wedding invite. You absolutely must come." Because of that, I let Sophie join me. What is this? Are you too official? Claire glared at Sophie, indignant. Ethan, aren't you afraid I'll change my mind about the divorce right now? You've already taken your wedding photos, I said calmly. The person in a rush to divorce isn't me. It's you. That silenced her. After the paperwork was done, Sophie revealed her identity. She was the heiress to the Caldwell Group. No one believes it, she laughed bitterly. My biological father was a billionaire who abandoned his first wife, my mother. Years ago, I was a poor student, and my mom couldn't even afford her hospital bills. You were her doctor. You paid for her surgery. I had helped many patients, but when she showed me the old medical records, I remembered the girl crying alone in the stairwell. I became a doctor because of you. I never expected my father's new family to die in a plane crash, leaving him paralyzed and alone. He had no choice but to beg me to inherit his fortune. Her smile was full of irony. I waved my hand. You don't need to repay me. I was just doing my job. But Sophie was stubborn. What if I want to repay you? Before you were married, I wouldn't wreck a home. But now you have to give me a chance. I was helpless against her persistence. She asked me to accompany her to her inauguration ceremony as the new chairwoman of the Caldwell Group. The event was packed with elites, including Claire and Julian. When they saw me standing next to Sophie, Claire's face twisted. She pushed through the crowd, wine glass in hand. So, the famous chairwoman Caldwell used to work at our humble hospital. You must have had ulterior motives, Sophie replied bluntly. That's right. I went there for Dr. Cole. He's single. I'm single. A man needs a wife. A woman needs a husband. Nothing wrong with that. The crowd's gaze shifted to me. Envy, curiosity, jealousy. Claire's face went pale. In front of high society, she couldn't admit I was her ex-husband without revealing her own deception. She had to swallow the insult. Julian walked up, linking arms with Claire, looking at me provocatively. No wonder Dr. Cole was in such a rush to resign. He found a sugar mama in the Caldwell family. Impressive. I looked at him coldly. If we're talking about latching onto power, Dr. Vance is the expert. Going from the Harrington family's almost son-in-law to their godson, most people can't navigate those curves. Everyone knew Julian was riding the Harringtons' coattails. Hearing me say it so bluntly caused a ripple of whispers. His lips trembled with rage. He shouted, disregarding the setting. Maybe people don't know that Dr. Cole was called a quack by a patient and got stabbed. He only quit because he had no face left to stay. I held up my phone. Be careful with your words. As for who the real quack is, I have a recording of you and Chief Sterling. Should I play it so everyone can judge? Julian and Claire turned white. Someone in the crowd murmured. The rumors are wild lately. I heard Chief Sterling is actually divorced even though she claims she's never been married. The room buzzed. Claire and Julian, feeling the heat, found an excuse and fled the venue. That night, Claire appeared under my apartment building. I didn't want to see her, but she waited stubbornly. When I finally went down, she looked frail standing by her car. Are you here about the recording? I assumed she wanted me to delete it. She shook her head. I just feel terrible. I wanted to talk. Ethan, did you divorce me because you were angry I wouldn't go public? I turned away. Does it matter? Say what you need to say. She stepped closer, looking up at me earnestly. It matters. I thought I was rational, but seeing you with Sophie today, I lost control. I humiliated myself. She laughed self-deprecatingly. Originally, I wanted to invite the new Caldwell chairwoman to my wedding. The wedding is the day after tomorrow, but I'm not happy because the person I love is you, Ethan. I laughed coldly. She loved me. She used me for 5 years, hid me, and flirted with her childhood friend. See my disdain? She sighed. If I didn't love you, I would have been with Julian ages ago. He's always loved me. When I first met you as an intern, I felt for you. You waited for me during my rotations. You were worth trusting with my life. She paused, seeing my impatience. I know you hate me, but everyone wants to climb. Julian's fiancé went abroad and came back a vice chief. I didn't have that chance. So, when Julian said the Harringtons would give me their research, resources, and support if I helped him, I was tempted. I looked at her deeply. Claire, there's no such thing as a free lunch. The Harringtons don't do charity. She hesitated. So what should I have stayed a lowly doctor trampled by others? Julian likes me, but he chased the Harrington girl for power. I don't love him, but I wasn't resigned to being average. If you were me, Ethan, you would have done the same. I only remember my oath as a doctor, I replied calmly. Claire smiled bitterly. We shouldn't have divorced. I never wanted to divorce you. She looked innocent, as if I were the one who betrayed our vows. Seeing I was about to leave, she grabbed my arm. Her lips moved silently for a moment before she spoke. The Caldwell Group is powerful. The Harringtons are desperate to curry favor with them. Can you please persuade Sophie to attend my wedding? It was hilarious. That was her true purpose. I'm just a friend to Sophie. You overestimate my influence. I shook her off and walked away. I didn't mention the invitation to Sophie, but she brought it up herself. Even though you're divorced, you need to keep your distance from her. Protect yourself. She paused, then added, There's a storm coming. Sure enough, on the day of Claire's wedding, she was taken away by authorities while still in the dressing room. News spread instantly. The groom and the Harrington family at the head table were in panic. The scene was chaos. I remembered Claire's confidence when she visited me. She had sensed danger but thought she could outmaneuver it. She didn't even get to put on her wedding dress. Rumors flew, but the confirmed truth was devastating. Claire had orchestrated massive embezzlement in hospital procurement and funding. And that was just the tip of the iceberg. The Gray medical research projects controlled by the Harringtons were all linked to her. The Harringtons were arrested, too. Julian tried to pull strings, contacting everyone he knew. But he quickly realized he was powerless and implicated. He tried to flee the country with a bag of cash, but was intercepted at the airport. As the middleman between Claire and the Harringtons, there was no way he could stay clean. People might come to ask you questions since you were married to her. But don't worry, I've got your back. Sophie told me immediately, offering comfort. I chuckled. The girl I once comforted in a stairwell was now protecting me. I am innocent. I have nothing to worry about. As expected, I was brought in for questioning, but I was released quickly. I knew nothing of Claire's schemes, and our finances had always been separate. Time passed, and the scandal faded from public memory. Then Claire asked to see me. When I saw her in the visitation room, I almost didn't recognize her. The once glamorous chief of staff was gaunt and haggard. She stared at me, forcing a strange smile. They asked me so much about you. I didn't say a word. I won't drag you down, Ethan. I have a clear conscience, I said flatly. It wouldn't matter if you did. Claire lowered her eyes, smiling bitterly. Thank you for coming. I thought you'd stay away to avoid association. It's the last time. We should say a proper goodbye. She looked at me in disbelief. It's not that bad. It's just financial crimes. Few years. Her voice trembled. Did you hear something else? Her eyes widened. Ethan, we were husband and wife. For the sake of the good times, please save me. Have mercy. Can you ask Sophie or anyone, please? She begged, stripping away all her former pride. I sighed. I can't help you. You have to bear the consequences of your actions. I have no pity for you. I'm just here to say goodbye. Claire slumped in her chair, struggling to speak. I don't believe it. I don't believe you can be this cruel. You recorded me asking you to take the blame for Julian, but you never released it. Wasn't that because you wanted to protect me? Why won't you help me one more time? Watching her shoulders shake, I felt nothing. Because when I was stabbed, you didn't care. Not once. If that knife had been an inch to the left, I would be dead. That was the moment my hope for you died. Her lips trembled. That was because she couldn't find an excuse. She stammered for a long time before whispering, Whether you believe it or not, I always loved you. It meant nothing to me now. We were over long ago. The visitation time ended. I stood up and walked out, never looking back. My life moved on. I received offers from top hospitals, but I declined them. I decided to open a new private hospital with a former colleague I trusted deeply. He insisted I be the chief of staff, saying I embodied the true spirit of a doctor. On opening day, I learned the primary investor was Sophie. She didn't hide her feelings anymore. I thought about it for a few days, then agreed to date her. She took me to see her mother, my former patient. Her mother was healthy and overjoyed to see me, her gratitude turning into delight at our relationship. One day while I was working in my office, my business partner rushed in. "Claire Sterling. She's gone." I didn't understand at first. She committed suicide in prison, slit her wrists with a sharpened piece of plastic. They didn't find her until the next morning. My pen paused on the paper, dragging a long line of ink across the page. Someone once so familiar, now a stranger, had left the world in such a desolate way. I didn't know how to feel. The Harringtons pinned everything on her. Julian did too, said she masterminded it all. She was looking at 20 years or more. Maybe she despaired. Or maybe something else. It's strange. My partner looked at me anxiously. "Ethan, are you okay?" I smiled at him. I finished reading the document in his hand and signed my name. "I'm fine." He changed the subject and the moment passed. Claire was my past. I wouldn't let her haunt my future. Sophie texted me, "Dinner tonight at that new place downtown." I replied, "Yes." We had been dating for a while. I remember the last time I gave her flowers. She had searched through the bouquet looking for a ring, unable to hide her disappointment when she didn't find one. I suddenly regretted my hesitation. I stood up and left the office. I was going to buy a ring. Sophie was worth it. Later, I heard Julian was sentenced to 10 years and the key members of the Harrington family got 20. They finally paid the price. As for me, a new chapter was just beginning. Story complete.